One of the questions that I got asked the most is how did I find my co-founders? And it makes sense because we live in a world of entrepreneurship where there's more people with great ideas and don't know how to build them than there are people who know how to build them and don't have a great idea. The answer, at least for me, is a mix of process, skill, and luck. A whole lot of luck. Now, if you're like me, you fall into the category of a business co-founder, which also means that your number one job is to be an excellent recruiter because you're only ever going to be as good as the people that you're able to attract, the people that you bring onto this journey with you to find and build your dream. For HeirLight, I knew my lane. I'm not a lawyer and I can't code. So I take on everything that is go-to-market, growth, partnerships, marketing and sales, and everything that is back office, legal, finance, and admin. But to actually build a company, I needed people who are great at front end, back end, app development, which is front end, as well as AI. And that was the mission. That's what I set out to do. So to do this, I created a 5-step process. In the beginning, it was just a bunch of ideas that made sense to me. But now, to make this video, I condensed them into 5 not so simple steps. The first one is the most important one, self-awareness. I know that I'm good with people and I can be persuasive, but I lack a lot of the skills, the core skills needed to build HeirLight. I don't have legal, I don't have tech. And so my founding team needed to have all the primary and core skills needed to go from 0 to 1 to MVP and to reliable revenue. Anything short of that means that pretty early on in the company, we'd have to go out and hire for these skills. And that's not a winning formula to me. Number 2, the scorecard. I wanted someone full stack, someone who'd actually built something from 0 to 1. I cannot probably go with someone who sat inside a large engineering team because I needed someone who's able to see from product and translate it to engineering and ship iterations and talk to me like a business partner instead of the hope that I would understand all the details of the technical aspects of it. So I made a scorecard. And if you don't know how to make one, well, use ChatGPT. And once you have an idea of what your scorecard would be, I would look around and ask friends and say, hey, do you know someone who fits 50% off the scorecard? Could I talk to them? And once you start having some conversations, show them your work, show them the research that you've done, and have a why behind everything on your scorecard of why do you need someone to have Python skills, for example. What even is Python? And when you start talking to ChatGPT about these things, you build up a vision of the person that you're looking for and then validate that with people who are smart. And I consider myself very lucky that I've been able to ask friends for the sanity check that I needed a lot. Third one is a non-negotiable for me, soft skills. I needed my co-founders to have similar values, and above all, I needed them to be high agency. And what does this mean? High agency is someone who does not take life in a passive way. They approach life in a way that they can solve problems versus life happens to them. And so that is something that I try to interview for. I ask questions. And one of the questions I love to ask is to talk about your hobby in detail. How have you pursued it? Tell me the moment that you felt very alive, that you felt accomplished. I just want to hear in somebody's voice the high agency, the action that they take to do something that they didn't have to. Step 4, where to look. This is also where self-awareness comes in. So for me, I am American, Malaysian, Chinese, which means the options that I have could be in California where I live or in Malaysia. California meant endless startups, people who are chasing the next unicorn, a lot of talent, but it comes with a price tag. Malaysia, the risk tolerance is different. While Malaysia may not have as many software engineers that have worked on world-changing projects, people here are trained in a more disciplined way. But what I needed was that someone who's willing to jump into a startup very early on, which meant I had to look for patterns of excellence. I hired someone off Fiverr for about $100 to scrape up a list of venture-backed startups in Malaysia. Tech companies that have raised any venture at all, even at pre-seed, all the way to the biggest ones, the unicorns. And there's not that many. And here's what I noticed. In the US, it's common practice to jump companies every 3 to 4 years, sometimes every even 2 to 3 years. But in Malaysia, where the default path is to get a job, buy a house, get married, have kids, and take care of your parents, this excellence shows up differently. I wasn't looking for people that went through the expected path, that did everything that society expected of them. I'm looking for that person who went a little bit off the beaten path. Step 5, the trim. This is where I had to cut down about 2,000 engineers based on seniority, graduation year that informs age a little bit, and the teams that they worked on if the information is available. And so to find the perfect fit, and the perfect fit for me isn't the best engineer out there. The perfect fit for me is a balance of whether I can afford them, whether they're available, whether they have the hard skills that I need, the values, the soft skills, and really ultimately, do they get along with me? So I met with about 40 engineers, and here's where the process turned from science into art. Of all the conversations, I ended up with 2. At first, I thought I was just hiring developers to build my dream. Instead, I met 2 people, friends since childhood, who weren't just engineers. They were aligned in values and in outlook. They were about 8 years younger than I am, and when I look at them, I see a lot of a younger me. At this point, I'm not quite ready to dox them yet, even though they both left their full-time jobs to join me on this journey, and we've been at this for about 4 months now. But this isn't the point of the video. We'll make another one to introduce them properly. The point is this: from 2,000 engineers down to 2 co-founders. What I learned is that finding a technical co-founder isn't about filling a skill gap. It's about finding people who will build the future with you. People that subscribe to the dream that you subscribe to. People that see the missing gap in the world and is willing to go off the beaten path and join you on this journey. And so if you're a non-technical co-founder like me, you only have one job, and your job is to be an excellent recruiter. I hope you found some value here. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like to see what we're building, we are launching HeirLight on October 18th on my mom's birthday, and we'll be posting a lot more in this channel. See you next time.